Delroy Grant, the man accused of being the Night Stalker rapist who terrorised South London for 17 years, repeatedly claimed in court today that his DNA had been deliberately planted by someone else at all 18 crime scenes.
The investigating officers called them the most awful and disturbing crimes they'd ever investigated. They became known as the Night Stalker attacks.
I'm breaking up and bleeding badly. Can you please get some help for me?
I'll call the police straight away.
He's been all around the bungalow. He got into my bedroom. He tried to smother me.
It became clear we were dealing with an evil human being, a ruthless individual.
A lot of his victims suffered at his hands, but suffered in silence and never actually reported them, but carried it with them to their graves.
The Night Stalker was a clever and sophisticated criminal. There's no doubt of that.
An investigation is underway following a burglary and sexual assault in the Shirley area of Croydon last night. An elderly woman in her 80s was woken by an intruder who had broken into her home. Yet to confirm if it is linked to a series of attacks by a man known as the Night Stalker.
To those who knew him, Delroy Grant appeared as a trustworthy and friendly individual, a man of charm and warmth. He seemed utterly devoted to his wife, Jennifer, who suffered from multiple sclerosis. Neighbors and friends would describe him as an attentive caregiver, a cricket enthusiast, and an easygoing figure who enjoyed fishing and community events.
On the Sundays, you'd see him in his suit and nice, and when he wasn't in his suit, he still was well presented. And
I never hear this man swear about it, never curse about it. No, you will always see him smile.
The way he treats his wife, and because most men would maybe run away.
But everyone's favourite neighbour by day had a lot of time on his hands by night, and the perfect alibi to burgle and rape his way around the neighbourhood.
His charisma and light-hearted memories about his childhood in Jamaica painted the image of a kind and caring man. However, this seemingly respectable exterior was shattered when the truth about Delroy Grant emerged. Behind the facade was one of the UK's most prolific sex offenders, who came to be known as the Night Stalker. Viewer discretion is advised, but if you find videos like this interesting or eye-opening, you can give this video a thumbs up or leave your feedback in the comment section down below. Over the course of 2 decades, Grant prowled the streets of South London, preying on elderly individuals. His crimes, marked by burglary, non-consensual sex or rape, and physical assault, left more than 200 documented victims, although authorities suspect that the actual number could be in the thousands, as many survivors were too ashamed to come forward. The sheer scale of his crimes was shocking, but what was even more appalling was the vulnerability of his victims, many of whom were in their 80s or older.
The man had a good look through my items in my bedroom, and he came and sat next to me on my left-hand side, and I think he rested his head against mine and leaned over to me, and he said something similar to me, do you want to have sex? I had to ask him to repeat it. I was so shocked by what he'd said, and he repeated what he wanted, and I said, no, certainly not. I'm an old woman. It won't do anything for you or me. I asked him not to hurt me, and he didn't say anything back. He didn't try to restrain me at all. He seemed to take his time.
After his arrest, Grant remained defiant, refusing to discuss his motivations, leaving investigators and psychologists to speculate about the depths of his depravity. Born in Jamaica in 1957, Delroy Easton Grant faced a hard childhood. Abandoned by his mother at the age of 2, he was raised by an elderly aunt. His father, George, a devout Christian and HGV, or heavy goods vehicle driver, later brought the teenage Grant to the UK in hopes of offering him a better future than what awaited him on the troubled streets of Jamaica. However, shortly after his arrival, Grant began engaging in petty theft, which quickly escalated to more serious offences. His criminal record included a conviction for armed robbery, following a post office heist. Despite his criminal tendencies, Grant's charm and good looks made him popular, particularly with women. In 1975, he married Janet Watson after a whirlwind romance. She later recounted how his controlling and abusive behavior surfaced early in their relationship, with violent outbursts triggered by his obsessive need for cleanliness. The couple had 2 sons, but the marriage was short-lived, ending after Grant's escalating violence culminated in a particularly brutal attack.
Janet Watson was so impressed with Delroy that she decided to accept his offer of marriage within 2 weeks of first meeting him.
He could charm the birds out of a tree with his words, and he just spoke to you so nicely and promised you the world, and usually delivered. He was perfect. To everyone else, I had the best husband in the world. He was perfect. Why wouldn't you want him? He was charming until just after we got married, and then it wasn't going to be nice anymore. It was going to be nightmares, and he didn't care that he was beating me when I was pregnant. It was like a total change. It wasn't the man that I said I do to, and we packed the presents in the car and had our first dance. All of that had gone.
Grant's life appeared to follow a pattern of duality, maintaining an outwardly normal life while engaging in criminal activities. After leaving Janet, he moved to Leicester, spelled Leicester. I'm not sure how this be Leicester still. I always have a problem with English spelling. But anyway.
Leicester.
He moved to Leicester, where he started a relationship with Jane Finlay and fathered 2 more children. However, his criminal exploits continued, leading to a conviction for handling stolen goods in 1991. By the early 1990s, Grant returned to South London and married Jennifer Edwards, a devout Jehovah's Witness. To their Jehovah's Witness community, he seemed like the ideal partner, caring husband and father, devoted to his wife's needs. They lived in a modest home in Brockley, South London, where he balanced his time between caregiving, weightlifting, and working various jobs as a lorry driver, handyman, and cab driver. While Jennifer's illness confined her to their home, Grant maintained a separate romantic relationship with Barbara Stocks, a bank worker. The name really fit the job. Their relationship, conducted while he continued to care for his wife, reflected Grant's ability to compartmentalize his life. Throughout this time, Grant carried out his heinous crimes under the guise of normalcy. Using a car purchased through a government disability scheme, he meticulously scouted neighborhoods within a 150-mile radius, identifying vulnerable victims. His nocturnal activities that were often noticed by neighbors who assumed he was working late shifts as a cab driver were in fact a sinister hunt for his next target. When news of his arrest broke in November 2009, those who knew him struggled to reconcile the caring, devoted family man they thought they knew with the monstrous predator behind the mask. His wife Jennifer and their children were relocated and shielded by their religious community as they tried to come to terms with the revelations.
An investigation is underway following a burglary and sexual assault in the Shirley area of Croydon last night. An elderly woman in her 80s was woken by an intruder who had broken into her home. Yet to confirm if it is linked to a series of attacks by a man known as the Night Stalker.
The crimes began in October 1992, with Grant's first confirmed attack on an 89-year-old woman in the town of Shirley in Croydon. This attack marked the beginning of a long series of crimes that spanned almost 2 decades. Over the course of his criminal activity, Grant was linked to over 90 burglaries and more than 30 sexual assaults, with victims ranging in age from 68 to 93 years old. He was also associated with at least 2 more cases of non-consensual sex that were not officially reported due to the victim's inability to make formal allegations. The true number of victims may have been even higher, as many were too traumatized to speak to the police. In 1998, the Metropolitan Police initiated Operation Minstead, a dedicated task force to investigate a series of non-consensual sex and sexual assaults. The operation was based at Lewisham Police Station, and its name was selected from an alphabetical list of English villages, a common practice for naming police operations at the time. By 2009, Operation Minstead became the largest and most intricate rape investigation ever undertaken by the Metropolitan Police. Operation Minstead focused on identifying a clear pattern of crimes committed by the same offender. Despite a number of incidents that appeared similar, not all could be definitively linked to Grant. And as I mentioned earlier, the confirmed series of offenses began in 1992 in the Shirley area of Croydon. But there were long gaps between his attacks, making it difficult for the police to piece together the full extent of his crimes. After the first attack in 1992, no further incidents were reported until 1997. Grant's most violent attack occurred on August 5, 1999, when he raped a victim in Orpington so brutally that she nearly died from her injuries. Following this, there was another break, which led to speculation in the media that the suspect had either been arrested for a separate crime or had died. However, Grant resurfaced on October 13, 2002, where he committed further attacks. He went on to commit 7 confirmed attacks in the summer of 2003, followed by another hiatus. The next confirmed series of attacks occurred towards the end of 2008 and continued into mid-2009. Delroy Grant's modus operandi involved gaining entry into the homes of elderly women, often through open windows or by removing a window pane. He would disable the electricity, often by switching off the meter or removing light bulbs. His victims were frequently elderly, and Grant displayed a particular knowledge of geriatrics, handling his victims in a manner that allowed him to overpower them. Despite the violence he inflicted on some victims, there were instances when he left without assaulting them, sometimes after being chastised by the women. Grant's primary motivation was not burglary, although he did steal small amounts of money, credit cards, and jewelry from his victims. He also took credit card details and PIN numbers. In some cases, such as in 2004, He stole money but discarded it later. His actions were not limited to sexual assault either. He committed burglaries in addition to his violent attacks. His crimes were concentrated in the southeastern London area, particularly around Croydon, Shirley, Orpington, and the surrounding areas such as Catford, Dulwich, and Sidcup. Oh boy. However, there was one instance outside Greater London, in Warlingham, Surrey. Investigators suspected a link to Orpington due to the frequency of his crimes in the area and his occasional comments about needing to go to Brighton. This led them to believe that Grant had a connection in Orpington, either living there, working there, or visiting someone in the area. Delroy Grant was eventually arrested in 2009 after a breakthrough in the investigation. CCTV footage of a man using stolen credit cards led investigators to track down a Vauxhall Zafira car near a cash machine, which was parked in the Shirley area. Upon stopping the vehicle, police found items linking Grant to the burglaries, including a jimmy, gloves, and spare clothing. And a jimmy is something that you use to break through doors, like Jimmy the Lock, so to speak. Police K9 then followed a scent trail to a house that had recently been burgled. On November 16, 2009, Grant was arrested and charged with 22 offenses, including rape, indecent assault, and burglary. The charges were as follows: non-consensual sex on the 12th of October 1992 at Shirley on an 89-year-old woman. On the 5th of September 1998 at Warlingham, Surrey, an 81-year-old woman, and he was charged in that case for non-consensual sex. On the 28th of July 1999, non-consensual sex in Addiscombe on an 82-year-old woman. Non-consensual sex on the 5th of August 1999 at Orpington. Victim was 88-year-old. Indecent assault on the 20th of June 1999 at Beckenham of a 71-year-old woman. Another indecent assault on the 12th of July 1999 at Addiscombe of an 82-year-old woman. One more indecent assault on the 4th of August 1999 at Shirley, 88-year-old woman. Indecent assault on the 13th of October 2002 at Shirley. The victim was a 77-year-old woman. Burglary, no violence on the 25th of May 2009 at Shortlands, Bromley. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 12th of October 1992 at Shirley. Burglary with intent to non-consensual sex on the 5th of September 1998 at Warlingham, Surrey. Indecent assault on the 5th of September 1998 at Warlingham, Surrey, of an 81-year-old woman. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 12th of July 1999 at Addiscombe. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 28th of July 1999 at Addiscombe. Indecent assault on the 28th of July 1999 at Addiscombe of an 82-year-old woman. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 4th of August 1999 at Shirley. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 5th of August 1999 at Orpington. Non-consensual sex on the 5th of August 1999 at Orpington and an 88-year-old woman. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 13th of December 2002 at Shirley. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 7th of March 2003 at West Dulwich. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 7th of September 2004 at Bromley. Burglary, theft, attempted theft with violence on the 28th of June 1999 at Beckenham. The arrest of Delroy Grant in 2009 was a pivotal moment in the fight against sexual violence in the UK. His capture brought a sense of relief and justice to many of the victims and their families, who had long been left in fear of an unseen predator lurking in their communities. The investigation, which spanned nearly 2 decades, had uncovered the horrifying extent of his crimes, and his conviction brought an end to the reign of terror he had inflicted on South London's elderly population. In the wake of his arrest and the subsequent conviction, many of Grant's victims came forward, some finding solace in the justice they had long sought, while others struggled with the trauma of revisiting their harrowing experiences. The case also shone a light on the often overlooked vulnerability of the elderly to such predatory criminals, emphasizing the need for greater vigilance and protections for senior citizens. The scale of Grant's crimes led to discussions surrounding the effectiveness of police investigations, the limitations of forensic technology at the time, and the challenges faced by law enforcement in identifying serial offenders. Despite the complexity and longevity of the case, it raised questions about what could have been done differently to apprehend him sooner. Grant's trial, which featured heart-wrenching testimonies from his victims, culminated in his conviction for multiple counts of rape, sexual assault, and burglary. His actions sparked a broader conversation about the long-lasting impact of sexual violence on its survivors, many of whom will live with the scars of Grant's cruelty for the rest of their lives. In court, Grant remained an enigma, refusing to offer any explanations for his actions, leaving a cloud of unanswered questions. His defiant silence was a sharp contrast to the lives he had destroyed. His conviction was a grim reminder of the evil that can lurk behind even the most seemingly ordinary facades. Now, Delroy Grant's life was marked by a stark duality, as his charm and normalcy served as a perfect mask for his criminal activities. This raised the question of how someone like him could remain undetected for so long, despite his disturbing behavior. He specifically preyed on elderly women, often targeting those who were alone and vulnerable, highlighting the critical need for better safeguarding measures for senior citizens. This case underscores the importance of more robust community and law enforcement initiatives to protect the elderly. Furthermore, Grant's ability to compartmentalize his life and carry out his crimes for such a prolonged period speaks to the challenges law enforcement faces in profiling serial offenders and connecting seemingly isolated incidents. The emotional toll on his victims is profound and often lifelong, making it essential to understand the psychological impact and offer proper support for their recovery. And lastly, Grant's eventual capture was made possible by breakthroughs in technology, such as CCTV footage and forensic evidence, demonstrating how advancements in technology can play a crucial role in solving long-standing cases. And this goes for Jamaica too, not just the UK. Delroy Grant's case serves as a grim reminder of the dangers that lurk behind closed doors, often hidden beneath the most seemingly normal exteriors. It is crucial that we remain vigilant in protecting our most vulnerable populations, especially the elderly, from becoming targets of predators. As a society, we must advocate for stronger protective measures, more comprehensive investigations, and the support for victims of sexual violence. You know, I realize the police in Jamaica them have the issue that them can't find serial offenders, and a lot of serial offenders in Jamaica. A small minority of people, or the majority of things in Jamaica, they are serial offenders. If you found this story thought-provoking or informative, consider sharing it to raise awareness about the importance of safeguarding vulnerable groups, and support organizations dedicated to helping victims of sexual violence, and ensure that we continue the conversation about how to create safer, more secure communities for everyone. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and stand up for justice. Thank you for watching.